It's Rivalry Week with the Pocket Jacks podcast. We got a taste of it last week with the Brawl of the Wild. Now we've got the big card with all the FBS matchups. It's also the last game of the regular season. So we're already here. Feels like it's only been a blink of an eye, but we've got some good games this week, and we've got a lot to break down. Lots of history that goes into these rivalry matchups, and we do the series matchups, Jack, every week with uh, what these teams are at when they play each other head to head as far as dating back to the first matchup. And this week, every single team, it feels like, is over 100 matchups. So, there's bad blood. There's a little tradition in these games. I'm excited to break them down, but we've got a little news to start the week. Two coaches getting hired. Uh, North Texas coach Eric Morris and UConn coach Jim Mora. Let's see, Eric Morris going to Oklahoma State, Jim Mora going to Colorado State. Pretty exciting
Yeah,
news.
I really like that Eric Morris hire for Oklahoma State there. He was the old Washington State offensive coordinator. He recruited both Mateer and Cam Ward to Wazoo. He has Mestamaker at North Texas, which it sounded like from what I've heard listening to some of their games, he hardly even played in high school. So this dude can find QBs. I hope he can turn Oklahoma State around because our boy Gundy unfortunately did drive him pretty far into the ground. But, Oklahoma State, they used to be kind of an elite program only 10 or so years ago.
Yeah, and I think part of that is the transfer portal. Gundy wasn't very fond on the transfer portal,
Yeah.
and maybe having a younger new coach. I don't know. He'll play the portal for sure.
Yeah, and then Jim Mora at Colorado State, I think that's a great hire. I mean, he was at UCLA back in the day, went to UConn, has honestly done a great job at UConn. I mean, UConn's all in basketball school, now going to Colorado State in the new Pac-12. A lot of these teams in the new Pac-12 are kind of gearing up, starting with a fresh slate. So I think he'll do a good job there too.
Yeah. Some exciting news to start the week, rivalry week. CFP came out on Tuesday. Anything shocking to you, Jack?
Yeah, the most shocking thing to me is they are not respecting BYU at all. If the CFP ended today and the conferences kind of were as expected, the conference championships, I believe BYU would be left out with having one loss and your one loss being to Texas Tech on the road, which is a very, very respectable loss. So, do you have any thoughts on why BYU is so low? I mean, they have some good wins too.
Well, I think it's broken. Like, I don't understand what's going on when they're doing this. I was thinking to myself earlier, I'm like, we need the ACC official review cam where we can listen to the refs. We need that for the CFP voters. We need to know what's going on inside the voters' head because I mean, there's just so many teams that I don't understand why they're so low. Like Texas Tech, I mean, or sorry, I don't know. Miami finally made it in.
Yeah,
BYU, like you mentioned, they are so low, it doesn't make sense. And then like Utah and Vanderbilt.
yeah,
The
yeah.
losses that these teams have are top 10 losses and they only have two of them. I get there's not enough spots. The other thing that is really killing me about this is Miami is number 12. Miami's not projected to make the conference championship for the ACC,
Yeah.
but they're the highest rated ACC team according to the college football playoff. That makes no sense that they don't have an ACC team up there.
Yeah, I think the way they've been doing it, and I might be wrong with this, is they're just having Miami kind of being the ACC placeholder because they are the top ranked ACC team. But I mean, you and I both know, and for the people that don't out there, Miami needs serious help to get in. If they play Pitt this week, that's a tough game. If they win that, they still need help to even get in the ACC conference championship. And I don't know about you, but I just don't see them getting an at-large spot right now.
Well, that's the thing. This is telling me that the ACC is going to get two teams in. They're going to get the conference champion because that's an auto bid. You have to get in. It's not going to be Miami. And then the team who plays in the conference championship is not going to get in. And then is Miami going to get in with not having to play in the conference championship? And I just it doesn't make any sense. Why do you have Miami up there if the ACC champion is not up there as well?
Yeah, and from a pure ranking standpoint, I don't understand why Miami is higher than Virginia. I guess I know Virginia is kind of it hasn't been pretty, but they have a lot of good wins and not really too many bad losses. The ACC, it feels like it's going to end on in a question mark. We've always said everything's going to work itself out. The ACC, it doesn't feel like it's really going to work itself out. I saw that it's, if SMU wins, they're in the conference championship and they could be the ACC representative, which I don't know about you. I don't want that. SMU does not deserve to be in this playoff.
No, I don't think so either. Uh, yeah, it is funky, and this week will tell us a lot. But it's still going to be there's still going to be three or four teams that have a good argument to be in the playoffs that don't make it. I think.
Yeah, and before we jump too much into this week in our rankings, you were at the game, boots on the ground. How was it? How was the Brawl of the Wild? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, the Brawl of the Wild was awesome. I mean, pound for pound, that stadium. I know it's only got whatever 25,000. I don't know what the attendance for that game was. Felt like 28, 29. There was people standing just on the side because there was not enough seats. Uh, and pound for pound, it is loud. Like when you put it in ratio to some of those bigger environments, 90,000 people, they match up pretty well for what they've got. And it was an incredible game. Had a flyover, just great atmosphere all around.
Yeah, I was watching on TV, but it sounded on the TV as loud as the LSU game that we were at, or you're watching an Alabama or a Georgia game. Like you said, pound for pound, UM might have the loudest stadium in the country for how few people are there and the noise. It's all 25 to 30,000 are just dialed in on that game. There isn't a single person that's just there to be there. Like everybody
Yeah.
was locked in on that game, which makes it so fun.
Yeah, it was great. And like the energy early was awesome. Anytime, like if early on, I remember the Grizz getting a sack and the place just erupting, and it was just like, holy smokes, this environment is awesome, and it was a great game. So that's all I could really ask for. Um,
Yeah, and
but
and with the FCS bracket coming out, there's a chance for a rematch, which I can't ever remember a Montana State game in the playoffs, but it would be in Bozeman this time. I'm cheering for it. I want to see those two teams play again because I know the Cats won, but they did feel very equally matched, in my opinion.
yeah, and if we get that rematch, I will definitely be trying to go to that game.
Then you can compare. You compare Missoula versus Bozeman in the same year.
Exactly, that would be awesome. Well, let's get into the rankings, at least our rankings for the college football playoff. I'll start us off here, and I've got some weird ones. I think that there's a lot of interchangeable teams as far as like
Yeah.
15 through 9, honestly. Um, so my 15th team is going to be Vandy. Going to
Okay.
14, I have Utah, or sorry, trying to pull up the ranking here because I accidentally put Utah in here twice, it looks like. uh, yeah, so 15, I'm going to go with Vandy. 14, Miami. And then 13, I didn't know if we were putting our G5 up there or not. So I'm going to uh, put North Texas there for now, but I think they
Okay.
obviously get the 12 spot if they get that G5 spot.
Yeah. So I you know how I do it. I have my G5 just missed, and then I hop into my rankings. So my just missed right now is North Texas, Tulane, and Navy for the G5 spot. I have a question for you later on in the pod about North Texas. Um, then for my just missed, I have Utah, then Vandy, and then Notre Dame. I do think Notre Dame's going to slide up once we kind of lose these placeholders because I have, placeholders at 12 and 11. So I think they have a real good chance of sliding in. But yeah. And then jumping into my 12 spot, I have James Madison as my group of 5. My Cougs took them to the wire, but the Cougs been playing tough to everybody that's a little bit above their weight class, I guess you could say. So I have James Madison as my G5 representative right now.
Perfect. I have North Texas as the G5. As far as rankings in the top 12, let's kind of list off just the teams that would be on the road. So for me, I have Bama 12, Notre Dame 11, Utah 10, and Oklahoma 9.
Okay, I like that. I have at 11, I have Miami in that placeholder, but I'll just say the ACC champ is going to be 11. And then at 10, I have Alabama, which I think is the same that you had. Oklahoma at 9. Does the 8 get a home game, or
Yeah.
is the 8 okay? And then BYU at 8, which I'm quite a bit higher on BYU than the actual college football ranking is.
So I have BYU at 8 as well. So wait, did you say you had Oklahoma at 9?
Yes, I have
Okay.
BYU ahead of
So
Oklahoma.
So we have the same thing there. 8 and 9. BYU would be hosting Oklahoma there. 7, I have Oregon. I just think that Oregon continues to win. They're building a better
Yeah.
resume now at this point, and they're looking better. So move them up 1 to 7. Another home team here, Ole Miss. I just think Ole Miss is still a great team. They've got the loss to Georgia. They're probably not going to have to play in the SEC championship, I don't think, or are they? Let's see.
Nope. They would, for Ole Miss to play in the SEC championship, they would need Alabama and Georgia to, or no, Ole
Okay.
Miss cannot make the SEC championship no matter what, because Georgia plays Georgia Tech, which is not a conference game. So Ole Miss is in the honey
So
spot.
yeah, Ole Miss is in a great spot. They just have to handle business rivalry week, and they're in. And then another home game, Texas Tech, throwing the imaginary tortillas.
So we're exactly the same. I have Oregon at 7. I thought that was a great win against USC. They handled them. They got another big one this week. Ole Miss at 6. They're going to be a part of my North Texas question that I have for you, and then Texas Tech at 5. But I would like to put a little asterisk that if Texas Tech wins this week, wins conference championship, I think they get that bye. I think they jump Georgia there, get the bye. So yeah, looks like our CFP is pretty similar.
Yeah, and then it sounds like you just said they'll jump Georgia, so we have the same top. Well, maybe not the same, but the same teams with Texas A&M, Ohio State, Indiana, and Georgia.
Yep, and I'm same. My top 3 is the same as it has been. Ohio State at 1, Indiana at 2, Texas A&M at 3. In my mind, I know the draw would be a little bit different, but if you're in the top 4, it's pretty interchangeable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too.
So
I
I do have
was wondering. Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. I have a question for you, fresh after we just talked about those rankings. If everybody remembers a few years ago, Florida State, they were undefeated. Their QB got hurt. The committee kind of took that into account and left them out. Now this year, I'm looking at a little different. North Texas, their coach has already left, and potentially Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss could leave. Is that something you think the CFP is going to take into account and maybe downgrade those teams at all?
That's the exact question I had for you. If Lane Kiffin leaves Oxford, does the CFP take it into consideration? I think yes. Um, I think that matters, and I don't know. I don't know how much it matters. I don't think it matters as much as Florida State, but I think it matters a little bit, and we'll see what happens. I do, however, hate that Kiffin is playing this along, and it's just like it's just making everybody wonder. I just don't love that. I was starting to become like kind of a Kiffin fan this year, and ever since this stuff started going on, I don't love it. If you're gonna stay, then even if you're not gonna stay, why are you not coming out and saying we're focused on winning a national championship? We're in a great position to make playoffs. We're focused on that. Like
I have the same exact thought on it, and the way he is playing it kind of makes me think he's leaving, because if you're staying, why not just come out any old day and just be like, I'm staying. I want to take Ole Miss to the moon. I want them to win a national championship. But him saying, well, I'm going to announce my future the day after our big rivalry game right before the playoffs. I don't know if it rubs me the wrong way, or I, I would hope at least the players in the locker room know. And I don't know if they do. I don't even know. Does Kiffin know?
I don't know either. I don't think the players know because I think that gets leaked. If someone knows inside the locker room, I think it gets leaked.
It's, it's, I've never seen anything like it where someone announces in the future when they're going to announce their decision. I mean, Ole Miss
Yeah, after
obviously
this
wants him
game,
to
right?
stay. Yeah, he said because they play their Egg Bowl game Friday morning. It used to be a Thanksgiving game. They slid it back to Black Friday. He said he's announcing on Saturday, so we'll have some rivalry games and some news potentially on Saturday.
Well, before we get into this slate, there was two games that we couldn't fit into the card or just talk about them, but I've heard some funny things out of these rivalries from one being a stranger, the other being my cousin, and I'll start with the Palmetto Bowl. It's South Carolina versus Clemson. My dad traveled down there with a group of guys a couple of years ago to watch the game, and they sat next to some old geezer down there in South Carolina and, talk to him, start chopping the shit with him. And they go, well, you've been a South Carolina fan for a while? Yep, season ticket holder. He goes, I hate Clemson so much I don't even drink orange juice during football season. And that's just one thing that defines all these rivalry games. I love the hatred between these schools. Another one being Nebraska, Iowa. I spent some time in Nebraska, got to see how those people, they share a border with Iowa, and so they do not like Iowa very much. That's their rivalry, and they're both big time agricultural places.
Corn.
Um, so my cousin got a shirt and went to the Iowa Nebraska game, and the shirt says Iowa has bad corn, and that's it. And I just love it. It's so simple, but just a great thing for rivalry. Not too
Yeah,
much hate, but just enough shit talk.
I, I love these rivalries too because, like you said, they're usually pretty close geographically, so really similar cultures. Um, if you haven't seen, look up South Carolina Clemson in 2004. They had such a big brawl during the game that they actually canceled the game for I don't know how many years, but 4 or 5 years they just didn't play the game because the fight was that big. Like it was just a full on sideline v sideline melee. So serious hate there. I mean, last year that game was a lot bigger than it is this year, but that's I love that orange juice quote.
Oh, it's great. Just a little bit of hatred in any way possible.
And hey, you were in Nebraska. I don't know if I've ever had any Iowa corn. Who's got the better corn? Do you know?
Oh, I didn't have any Iowa corn, but I would have to side with Nebraska.
Lots of corn in that part of the world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's get into it. I'm going to lead us off here with the Iron Bowl. Some people refer to it as the Iron Bowl. I refer to it as the Kick Six game or the Here Goes Davis game. I bet you remember that, Jack. I was looking that up.
Oh
That
my
that was
god.
in 2013, where Auburn wins at home on a 109-yard kick return off of a field goal as time expired. This is a great rivalry. 51-37, Bama leads, and Bama's won the last five. This is a must-win game for Bama. To get into the playoffs, you have to win this game. You lose, you're out. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, this rivalry is one of the most iconic ones. That is probably the most iconic play in college football that I can remember. I mean, the band is on the field is the only one that I can think that's close in the old Cal Stanford game. I think everybody knows the, oh my God, Auburn's going to win the football game, kind of in that kick six moment. I mean, it was one of my first great college football memories. Um, One of the trends that I noticed in this week as a whole and this game fits right into it, is it feels like the higher ranked team that really needs the win is going on the road. It seems like I was writing these games down and it's like the better team keeps going on the road. And I just have a tough time going against Auburn here. My pick is going to be the over 46.5 in this game. But God, Iron Bowl at night in Auburn with an interim coach. I have a feeling we're going to see some cool trick plays in this game because this is the kitchen sink spot of a lifetime for Auburn.
Yeah, and you got DJ Durkin, new coach, as you just mentioned. In my opinion, he might be an upgrade from Hugh Freeze at this point. And it's a job interview game for him. You win this game, you might get the job.
I think you do get the job. Auburn's at the point where, all right, if we're not going to make the playoffs and we beat Alabama, it's a good season. Like I think Alabama is kind of the big brother with some air quotes around this, but Auburn has magic. Do you remember last time this game happened in Auburn that Alabama threw a touchdown on like 4th and 30 with 30 seconds left in the back left corner of the end zone to beat Auburn at the last second? So this is a throw the records out game. Even when Alabama was really rolling and Auburn wasn't, this is always a great game.
Yeah, in a rivalry, the people down there take it very seriously. Uh, Little history for anybody that doesn't know. I'm sure some people have heard this story or are very familiar with it. Um, there's a gentleman. So let's start off here. Toomer's Corner. It's a place in Auburn. It's off campus. There's trees. It sounds like they go there to party. And how it all started was back in the day, they would have a telegraph there. And so when Auburn would go on the road, and the news of them winning would come back, the ticker tape that came out of the telegraph would be thrown over the telephone poles. And so that's where this TP in the trees comes from that they do now, where they get the TP and they throw it on the trees and it's spread out everywhere. But that's the big tradition. And for those of you that don't know, it's called Toomer's Corner. There's two big oak trees, Toomer's Oaks, very famous trees. And back in 2010, there was an Alabama fan who, huge Alabama fan. He was such a big Alabama fan that he named his first son Bear Bryant. I mean, die-hard Alabama fan. And then let's see here. His second son, he wanted to name him Crimson Tide. And then his daughter, he wanted to name her Allie, Ally, Alabama.
I
And
thought you were going to say
his
the
wife
daughter Nick
vetoed
Saban.
that one. Yeah, his wife vetoed that. So but he does have Bear. He's got Bear as a son. And so this guy, huge Alabama fan, he sees these Auburn kids put if you ask him, a Scam Newton jersey on the Bear Bryant statue in Alabama. So what does he do? He drives down to Auburn and poisons the oak trees. And I've got a good clip of this. He went on a radio show after for it, and here's what he had to say.
Okay.
Is that against the law to poison the tree?
Oh. And so
That is great.
he did end up getting arrested, and he was in jail for 6 months over it, and he had to pay restitution of about $800,000. I don't think it ever all got paid off, but he got in serious trouble for doing it. And my golly, that is a rivalry. That is an absolute rivalry.
I mean, there's one thing to go drive and kill the trees. There's another thing to call into the radio show and just be like, yeah, that was me. Like they put
Roll
a Cam Newton
Rolling
jersey.
Tide.
Oh my, yeah, that rivalry. Oh, primetime spot too. I love that it's a primetime spot.
Yeah, and I like Auburn here too. I haven't really decided on a for sure side on this, so I will put that out with the graphic when that comes.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's So should we go to the next big one? I don't have the line written down. I think it's about 10.5, but Ohio State versus Michigan, the game is I believe what they call it. And I have a question for you on this. One, is this the biggest rivalry in college football? Two, if it's a yes, is this the biggest rivalry in sports?
Yeah, I mean I think you could make a good argument that it is. They don't these teams don't even refer to each other as their name. I mean, Ohio State calls Michigan the team up north. I don't know what Michigan calls Ohio State. My cousin actually went to camp. She went to school at Ohio State, and during rivalry week, every single M on campus, whether that's a poster or whatever it is, every single M on campus is crossed out with a red X, and it speaks volume about this rivalry. It's a great rivalry. It's 62-51, so it's fairly close. I know Michigan's won the last four here, but it's a fantastic rivalry. And I mean, Michigan's better than they were last year. Ohio State's arguably better than they were last year. I love it. I think this is a great spot for Ohio State to kind of just take over now. I mean, they won four in a row. It almost feels like it's just time for it to turn around and go the other way. What do you
I,
think? Do you think it's the biggest rivalry?
I do think it's the biggest rivalry. Like you said, Ohio State crossing out every M. I saw a clip of their campus. It's every single M, no matter what. Like there was a wall of fame of Ohio State alums, and if they had an M in their name, boom, big red X on it. So it's like they don't care who you are. If you have an M in your name, thankfully, if we were on the wall of fame, Ohio State, both our names, we wouldn't have any X's across. But I last year, Michigan beating Ohio State was probably the most shocking thing because Ohio State was so good and Michigan really was not good at all last year. So I agree with you. I do think Ohio State should win this game. I think they will win this game. But Ryan Day, if he loses this game, is it any sort of hot seat? I mean, that might be a little bit too much of a swing, but Ohio State fans, they are ready to beat Michigan. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. And what I really like, what makes it such a big rivalry is you start hearing this stuff on social media now of I saw Portnoy do it. I saw a couple other just random Ohio State fans talking about it. And they're asking them, would you rather beat Michigan or win the national championship? Because last year they lost to Michigan and won the national championship. And some of them were like, we'd rather beat Michigan. Okay. I'm like, what are you guys on? That is crazy. National championship should always be the only goal. But obviously you want to win the rivalry.
Yeah, and
If
another
I'm
thing,
if I'm in a rivalry and we lose every year but win the national championship, I think I'm going to be okay with it.
yeah, I would be happy to lose to the Huskies and win the national championship right now. Sign me up for that. But another thing that makes this rivalry so great, last year wasn't really the case, but Ohio State and Michigan over the last 5-10 years have both been great. It felt like during the 4-team college football playoff era, it was kind of a winning you're in, losing you're out. Both very highly rated, huge Big Ten championship implications. So this game, and to make, I know you're going to agree with this, it's always Joel Klatt and Gus the Bus, which just brings the ultimate juice to this game.
It will be fantastic. 10 a.m. game Saturday, 9.5 point spread. One thing I looked at here, every game, well, one thing to note first, Justice Haynes is out for Michigan, starting running back, pretty good player. He's out for the game, unfortunately. But since 2001, every team with more rushing yards has won this game. And the rushing offenses here, Ohio State ranks in the 50s. Michigan is 10th. Now, I know Justice Haynes has a big part in that 10th place, but that also speaks volumes about your O-line. So I like that. Ohio State is also first in allowing 30-plus yard runs, meaning that they don't give them up.
Okay.
So don't allow the 30-plus yard runs. On the other side of the football, Michigan is first in not allowing 30-plus yard passes, which is Ohio State's very strong suit, where they have the 9th-ranked offense in getting 30-plus yards. Now, that probably could be higher because they've had to shut down the offense these last few games. Probably could be in the top 5. But, man, I mean, talk about a good matchup. And teams that kind of just counteract what the other one's good at. And it probably fuels into how great this rivalry is. I just think Ohio State, you look back at Texas week 1, and Ohio State confused the shit out of Arch. They would show cover 3 and switch into something else. And then they'd show this and switch into something else. I think their defensive coordinator is incredible. I think this defense is a top defense in the country. I think Ohio State's got a salty taste in their mouth. I could go on and on. Ohio State minus the 9.5. Love it.
Yeah. The only thing that concerns me about Ohio State here is last week, and I think it was a little bit, they were resting him, getting him healthy, but both Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate were out. I would imagine they're playing in this game, but are they 100%? I don't really know. It feels like Michigan every year, their plan is we're going to try to just bully Ohio State, and Ohio State always has the best receivers, the best skill players. I do think the difference this year is Julian Sand is just a little bit different than the Ohio State QBs of the past. So I'm with you. I like Ohio State here to go on the road and cover the 9.5.
Yeah, I love it. Let's get into a little chronological order here. We'll go to Friday. And the earliest game Friday I think we have is the Egg Bowl.
Yep.
Is that correct?
10 a.m.
We briefly talked about this with Kiffin. You've got Ole Miss going to Mississippi State to play in the Egg Bowl Friday, 10 a.m. in Starkville. Ole Miss leads this series 64-46 with 6 ties. Ole Miss has won the last 2. We already touched on it. What's the latest with Kiffin? Why is he drawing this out? He says he's going to announce it after the game. So what is your take on this, Jack?
Yeah, these are the games, and this one also fits kind of into that scheme that I was talking about, where Ole Miss is definitely the better team. They need this win, but they're going on the road to their arch rival. And I think, as we know, this is Mississippi State's Super Bowl. This is their season. If they win this game, I don't think they're going to make a bowl game, but if they win this game, it's a great season. They wouldn't trade it for anything else. So I do kind of like Ole Miss here. Mississippi State, they played tough a lot of the year, but it felt like they were running out of gas a little bit. Missouri crushed them. I don't. Did they play last week, or I think they had a bye last week. This is a closer spread, only being 7.5 than I would guess. I kind of like Ole Miss. I don't think I'm going to bet it because is it just Kiffin's looking ahead? Maybe they're not completely ready for this game. And I do think if Mississippi State finds a way to pull off this upset, you have to pull Ole Miss out of your playoffs because that would not be a good loss at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Ole Miss here quite a bit, actually. I think what happens is Kiffin goes into the locker room on Friday, tells the boys he's staying. Everyone gets crazy. He said it himself. This was supposed to be kind of a rebuild year. This wasn't supposed to be the team that they had a quarterback who's never played come in the offseason. He's now the starter. This wasn't supposed to be a 12-0 season. And now that they're here, I think Kiffin is he's happy to go a couple more years. I think he breaks the news. I think Ole Miss gets a huge energy boost from it, and they kind of roll here in Starkville. So give me Ole Miss minus the 7.5.
One thing I will say, the cowbells, they're gonna be ripping.
The cowbells will be ripping for sure.
We might hear them up in Montana. There's gonna be so many cowbells going. It's just gonna be more cowbell all game.
I love it. Going to the 1:30 slate on Friday, where Georgia takes on Georgia Tech, ranked matchup 4 versus 23. Georgia Tech catching 13.5 here with a total of 59.5. They call this the clean, old-fashioned hate game,
Love
where
it.
Georgia has a winning record of 72-41. Georgia's won the last 7 and dominated. This is a different one because this is not being played in Bobby Dodd, Jack. This will be a neutral site at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The AD made a deal 2 years ago. The AD's now at Michigan State, so he's not here
Jeez, thanks.
to live this one. Yeah, geez, thanks is right. But there's going to be a lot of dogs in attendance for this game. Not only that, but the seats are red at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This is going to be Georgia all day long, a sea of red. I just don't think this is going to go very well. I mean, I know it's a rivalry game, but it being at a neutral site just makes me want to go Georgia. I mean, I would think Georgia Tech if they're at home, but I like the neutral spot for Georgia's sake. The other thing, if Georgia Tech wins this game, them and Georgia will have the same record, giving Georgia Tech the head-to-head. So if Georgia Tech doesn't make the ACC championship and they finish 10-2 with a head-to-head win against Georgia, how are they not in the playoffs?
I mean, that would be a great win, and that would screw the college football playoff because then they would have the double. They'd have that. They'd have the Notre Dame, Miami. They'd have Bama, Vandy, Oklahoma. I mean, there's so many
There's
of
like
those.
9 two-loss teams if that happens.
Yeah, I can't believe the AD would do that. Like, I know they're playing it in the Atlanta Falcons Stadium, which is in Atlanta, obviously, and Georgia Tech's in Atlanta, so it's in their hometown. But Georgia fans, they're gonna show up. I would say it's probably going to be 65-35 Georgia to Georgia Tech. If I were to guess, I haven't seen any sort of release on that. I really like Georgia here. Georgia Tech, they had a great season. They were hanging on. They barely beat Boston College, and then they played Pitt last week, which was Georgia Tech was my lock. Not a good pick. Pitt came out and jumped on them. Georgia Tech tried to come back. They're just shooting themselves in the foot. I like Georgia here too because I could see a little style points in this. They're assuming Alabama beats Auburn. Georgia is not going to make the SEC championship. So I think this is kind of their, hey, we deserve a bye. And they're going to try to blast Georgia Tech. So give me Georgia minus the 13.5. I really like it.
Yeah, so do I. And like you mentioned, it was a classic look ahead last week with Georgia Tech. They collapsed to Pitt. And Pitt doing what they said they would do and taking care of these next 2 games after Notre Dame. So, yeah, if Georgia Tech wins this game, it throws a wrench in things, but I'm with you. I love Georgia minus the
And
points.
one thing I will say is if you remember last year, this game was in Athens between the hedges at Georgia, and it was a triple overtime game. So Georgia Tech, they're going to show up. I just doesn't. Georgia Tech is trending the wrong direction. They're playing their best ball a few months ago, where Georgia seems to be ascending. So I just have a real tough time. If I was the Georgia Tech head coach, I'd be livid about being like, so we play at Georgia and then our home game's neutral. Like, why would you not want that in your own stadium? Be like, yeah, we'll give the Georgia fans 500 tickets, and the rest is going to be Georgia Tech people.
Yeah, big mistake by the AD there. Moving on, another Friday game. I believe it's the last Friday. Oh, we've got 2 more Friday games. This one being played at 5:30, where Texas goes on the road to take on. Oh, sorry, where Texas A&M goes on the road to take on Texas. Texas A&M coming in at 3, Texas at 16. Texas catching 2.5 here. The Lone Star Showdown is what they call it. They've got over 100 matchups, of course, 77-37, where the University of Texas holds a winning record and has won the last 2. Can Texas A&M get a perfect season here? It's the last one. I think so. They were a 10.5-point dog coming into this game preseason. Now they're favored by 2.5.
Yeah, this is a very interesting rivalry. This was one of the ones where they stopped playing it because Texas A&M left to go to the SEC and Texas was still in the Big 12. So I'm very happy this game's back. It's always been kind of that Friday spot too, which is great. I I was all over Texas A&M to start. They were going to be my lock, but is this line a little goofy to you that it's only 2.5 here, or do you think they're just putting that much value into the stadium at DKR in Texas?
So I think it is. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. And I looked at that, and my take on that is don't get cute. Don't overthink this. Texas A&M is the better team. They've already had their shitty game against South Carolina, and they came back in spectacular fashion and won. They had Samford last week, so they had 2 weeks to prepare for Texas. Elko's a defensive mind. They're going to confuse the shit out of Arch. It just seems like when Arch has to go play these tough teams, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, it doesn't go well for him. These
Yeah.
coaches know how to confuse him on the defensive side of the ball, and Elko's a defensive mind. So don't overthink it. Texas A&M is my pick on this.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that take, and I was curious to hear what you had to say because it feels like Vegas is throwing a curveball by making this spread tight, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to give you one of these lines where it looks like we're begging you to take Texas A&M, and we actually want you to take Texas." But I like it. Just don't overthink it. Texas A&M, they have the better QB, they have the better team. I don't want to say they have the better coach, but they're definitely playing better football. So I'll ride with that there. They might. They might.
There's an argument there.
They might. But yeah, I'll go with Texas A&M with you here. Uh, Great game, Friday spot.
Yeah, and we're on the same side so far for the 3 Friday games we've talked about. We've got one more to get to, and that is Arizona ASU. Jack will be going to it. The Territorial Cup, the duel in the desert, whatever you want to call it. This will be a great game. You lead us off since you're going.
Yeah, I'm gonna have boots on ground on this one. I can't wait. Both these teams are actually playing good. Arizona cracked the top 25 at number 25. They have some very respectable losses. They lost to BYU in overtime. They lost to Iowa State close. Um, they have one more in there. Not thinking of who it is, but I believe the spread's almost a pick 'em. I think Arizona is a 1.5 point favorite. ASU, they're banged up, but they have been playing better with Jeff Sims. I can't wait to go to this. It says it's sold out, so I'll be posting some stuff on our Instagram story so everybody can see it. Late night, Pac-12 After Dark OG on Friday. I'm gonna go with the Sun Devils. I'm gonna be dressed up in my Sun Devils gear, just like we were in our LSU gear. Pretend like I'm a fan. Go with the home team. My boy Dillingham, he's gonna be activating the Valley. It's gonna be rolling. So give me the Sun Devils here. Cannot wait for this game. We got boots on ground, 2 games in a row on the pod.
2 games in a row. The Territorial Cup, oldest rivalry trophy in college football. Shockingly.
Interesting.
Yeah, did not think that. You said it yourself. Arizona is hot. Arizona State's hot. I think Arizona should have beaten BYU. They had them and then just kind of ended up losing. They'd have a good shot at the Big 12 championship if they did that. Arizona State needs a little help to get in, so it's a must-win spot for them. And then they need help by, I think BYU has to lose to UCF. They've got the head-to-head versus Texas Tech, so they would need West Virginia to actually beat Texas Tech and give them the 2 losses. It takes a lot to get them in, but yeah, it should be a fun game. It's almost a pick 'em. I'm going to go on the opposite side of you here and take Arizona minus the 1.5. I just think they're really hot right now, and yeah, it should be fun though.
I like it. Yeah, Fafita, he's a stud for Arizona. He's been there for quite a few years now. And Jeff Sims, I think he's been playing college football since we were in college, which is a couple years ago at this point. So you can't say lack of experience for him.
Yeah, this will be a great game, and I am jealous that you're going. Should be warm too. uh, let's see. We've got a couple Saturday games. We covered 2 of them already, I believe, with Bama and the
Michigan.
game with Ohio State and Michigan. First Saturday game, 10 o'clock slate, where Miami goes to Pitt. Miami laying 6.5 here with a total of 49.5. This one does not have a name to it, Jack. Did you find anything?
I I didn't. I don't. I think Pitt's main rival is kind of West Virginia, and Miami is maybe Florida State. So it feels like those are both early in the year, and maybe they kind of had an agreement, say, let's play this game the last week of the season, and this year happens to be a huge game.
Yeah, it is a great game. And these two teams, I know there's not a name for it, but this thing goes way back to 1950, where both teams were in the Big East Conference together before they moved to the ACC. Um, Pitt has the win last year, or sorry, not last year. 2022 was the last time they matched up, and Pitt had the win. Um, I like Pitt here. I think Miami's just not as good as everybody thought at the beginning of the year. Pitt's playing good ball, and they were only focused on these two games. So they're ready for this. The other thing on this one, it's supposed to be really cold. And Miami going and playing in the cold, I like my chances with Pitt. I'll take them. However, I would love to see a rematch. If we can somehow sneak a 10 versus 7 Catholics versus convicts rematch in the college football playoff, that would be crazy, but that's a long shot. So I'm going Pitt plus the 6.5 here.
Yeah, this is an interesting game, and it being cold definitely throws a little bit of a wrench in there because Miami, they don't ever play in the cold, and cold for them is like 72 with a 5-mile-an-hour wind. But yeah, I mean, this game, the thing I've noticed with Miami, I don't know if you've watched them against Virginia Tech and Stanford. They had both those games wrapped up inside the 2-minute warning to the point where they could have taken a knee, and they went and scored one more touchdown just to spruce that scoreboard up a little bit more. I kind of like Miami just for that exact reason. I think if they're up 4 and have the ball, they're going to try to punch it in just to get another score. This is a no bet for me in real life. Very scary game. I do think Pitt's live to win, but I'm going to go with Miami. It seems like they had that little hiccup in the middle of the season where they lost back to back. I think mid to late October that was to Louisville and SMU. So give me Miami minus 6.5, but this is a no bet for me. Great game. That would start the day. I don't think too many people are going to be watching it with the Michigan Ohio State clashing at the same time.
Yeah, that's going to be the focal point of the morning for sure. Until it maybe gets out of hand, and then we're going over to watch Pitt because I think that game stays close the whole time. Moving to the 1:30 slate. Great game on the West Coast. 12:30 on the West Coast. We're going sailgating out west with Oregon and Washington. Washington catching 6.5 here. Absolutely great rivalry. 63-49. UW holds the leading record, but Oregon coming off a 2024 win. First thing I got here, 2 game days in Oregon this year. Should have been at the Brawl of the Wild last week.
Yes.
It sucks. I mean, they already showed off the tradition and everything behind it, and all they're doing is just replaying it. It's copy and paste. It's sad that these networks are all over this stuff, and they pretty much own the sport more than ever. So
Yeah.
it sucks, but I don't know. This game's scary to me too. I don't know what I want to bet because I think Oregon's looked pretty good these last few weeks. I know Washington's got some studs, and it's just a rivalry game, which makes me not, I don't know. It just makes me think it's going to be close. I would think it would be a higher total or a spread than this, with Oregon being 10.5 against USC last week, and then now it's Washington and it's 6.5, which I think USC is probably a little better than Washington. I don't love fading Oregon, so I'm just gonna say Oregon minus the 6.5 and not really overthink it, but this is a no bet.
Yeah, this game, in my opinion, is actually the most underrated rivalry in all of college football. these two teams absolutely hate each other. It's not like the Oregon State or Washington State. You know, these two are kind of I hate to say it, but they're kind of the class of those two states. So the sail gates are going to be out, and Husky Stadium is going to be absolutely rocking. Like you said, Oregon won last year, but the year before, we were together actually in Vegas for the game, and it was completely packed. Where Oregon was very highly ranked. Washington had DeBoer and Michael Penix, so Dunze and all those guys, and they ended up beating them in the fourth quarter. So I do kind of like Oregon here. And this is another one of those games where the better team has to go on the road to their rival and play them and beat them. And this is probably a win and you're in for Oregon. Losing you're out, I would say, because I don't see a way that Oregon can make the Big Ten championship. I don't know what the tiebreakers are like if Michigan were to beat Ohio State. But yeah, give me Oregon here minus the 6.5. Feels like Washington's ran out of gas a little bit on this season, but you know they're going to get up for this game because this is the season at this point.
Yep. I love it. Last game of the slate, 1:30 Saturday, where I couldn't find a name for this one either. I think it's just the Tennessee Vandy rivalry.
Yeah, it is. That's literally the name of it.
That's weird, man. I would need something a little more creative. I love the creative rivalry names. Number 14, Vandy, going to Tennessee in Knoxville. Tennessee laying 3.5 here as the 19 seed, facing a 14 seed. 79-33, where Tennessee holds a leading record, and Tennessee has won the last 4. The news for this, Diego Pavia's mom. I've seen her in the news. People are, if you look up Diego Pavia's mom, it's like Diego Pavia's mom, Theo Vaughn. It's like the first 2 things that come up. But she is getting a lot of attention as of late. I don't know. Vandy as dogs is America's play. And I love Vandy as dogs typically. However, this is a Pocket Jacks special where the 19 is favored over the 14, which is fishy. Jack, what's your take here?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think we've kind of figured out where Diego Pavia got his moxie from. I mean, just some wild clips of his mom this last week. But, yeah, Tennessee is clearly the big brother in this rivalry, and I like Vandy because, like you said, Vandy as a dog has been way better this year than they have as favorites, and this is the first time. I know last year it was a little bit more competitive, but this is the first time in what feels like forever where Vandy has a very legitimate chance to beat Tennessee. I've kind of weirdly became a Tennessee hater this year. I don't know why, but I still think Tennessee is probably the most overrated team in the country. I know they beat Florida, but congrats, Florida's 3-8. Like, I don't know you can't say that's some home run win there. So yeah, give me Vandy plus 3.5. Give me Vandy to win outright. Pavia magic in his last ever regular season game, and maybe they make a push. I just have a tough time seeing Vandy jumping all these teams though.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought. Like, if Vandy wins this game, one, Diego Pavia game-winning touchdown runs it in, makes a case for Heisman, and then 2, you win this game and you really give yourself a good shot at getting into the playoffs. I honestly don't see why they wouldn't. Like, they have a loss against Alabama and
Texas. Both on the road.
Like, those are fine losses. You beat everyone else. I think you can make a great case for getting in if you win this game. Last time they won in Knoxville, last time they won in the rivalry was 2018. Last time they won in Knoxville was 2017. I'm with you. I love Vandy as a dog. Maybe Tennessee is a little hungover from last week, getting their first win in the swamp since 2003. So give me Vandy plus the points here, the 3.5.
Do we know where Pavia's mom? Where is she sitting? Did she get a front row seat box? I mean, maybe she's on the field with Theo.
Sideline with Theo Vaughn.
Is Johnny Manziel? It's going to be those 3 hanging out. I mean,
yeah,
come on.
It'll be Johnny Manziel, Diego Pavia, his mom, and Theo Vaughn.
Dream
And
team.
his brother as the bodyguard. He was trying to fight Texas fans a couple weeks ago on the stands.
Well, let's just take a minute during this game. Let's just appreciate Diego Pavia. We're not gonna get him. There's only so many guys like that you get in college football like this. So I'm just gonna try to take a mental snapshot, and we're telling our grandkids, be like, "Well, you should have seen Diego Pavia when he had those Vanderbilt Commodores just rolling in the SEC."
I love it. Let's get into the lock dog parlay where you did pretty good last week, 2-0-1 with the best bets. Missed your lock, cashed your dog with a Friday night play. I did not have such a great week where I went 1-2 in my best bets. Missed my lock, missed my dog. We also missed the parlay between the two of us. This week, best bets. I'm going to go start us off here. I'll just give you one and then I'll take one from you. I'm going to go to what I said earlier. Don't overthink it. Texas A&M minus the 2.5 against Texas.
Yeah, I can get behind that play. For me, it felt good. It's been kind of a rough season for me. This last week was probably the best week I've had, so that was kind of fun. My first best bet, I'm going to the Iron Bowl, and I'm going to take Alabama at Auburn. I'm going to take the over 46.5. I know Auburn's offense was kind of rough, but ever since they fired Hugh Freeze, they've been going a little tempo. I have a feeling we're going to probably see some fake punts. It's just going to be a lot of interesting things going on, and I like this getting over the 46.5. So Alabama, Auburn, over 46.5 for my first best bet.
Love it. Second best bet for me. I'm going to go with what I said earlier. Ole Miss is going to get the news that Kiffin's staying. They're going to run in Starkville. Ole Miss minus the 7.5.
All right, I like that too. Here's one I'm going with. You and I have been on this in the past, and I like to take this as a personal challenge. I'm going to Iowa, Nebraska, the Corn Bowl, and I'm going to go under 39.5. Personal challenge spot. You and I used to ride this under all the time, running it back under 39.5. Iowa, Nebraska.
Couple totals to lead us off with the best
Yeah.
bets. I like it. Third best bet for me. I'm going to go. Man.
I
I'm
have
going to
one if you
go.
want me to.
I'm going to go Pitt plus the 6.5 as my third best bet
All right.
against
I like
Miami.
that.
It's a Friday night spot, right?
Yep. Or nope, that's Saturday morning. That's the
Oh,
10 a.m. game.
Saturday morning. That doesn't make me love it anymore, but still, give me Pitt. I think they're focused on these games.
All right. Narduzzi was telling the truth about the Notre Dame game. Um,
Exactly.
so my final best bet, and I'm gonna pen this one. I might change it out because it's a Thursday spot. It's on Thanksgiving. I know Thanksgiving's kind of NFL day, but I'm gonna take Memphis minus the 3.5 at home against Navy. I think Navy's had a great season. They've been awesome. They have their Army Navy game. They beat South Florida in Navy. It's a big game for Memphis. I think the Memphis coach is probably going to a different spot, going to get hired. So give me Memphis minus 3.5 at home against Navy on Thanksgiving Day.
Love it. We'll get into our lock here where I'm taking another spread. I'm going Georgia minus the big points with 13.5 against Georgia Tech. I think the neutral site is really going to mess this game up. What you said, Georgia's getting hot. Georgia Tech feels like they're kind of slowing down, kind of to the end of the year. And then Georgia with the style points to get the cover here.
I have the exact same thing. I said Georgia minus 13.5 parentheses style points. So
For the
we're just
lock?
for the lock, dead serious on
Love
Georgia
it.
minus 13.5. Kind of scares me, but they're going to try to. They want this is their pretty much application to get it by into the college football playoff at this point. So I love it. Georgia minus 13.5.
Yep. Absolutely great. Let's see here. Dog. I'll lead us off. Virginia Tech. Battle of
Oh,
Virginias. I'm going Hokies, money line.
I like it. They've owned the rivalry. They've owned the
Yep.
rivalry. Enter Sandman's going to be rocking. And I'm going to go for my dog, boots on ground. I'm going to go ASU. Going to be right there. Might as well cheer with them. I know they're barely a dog. I think they're even money, but they are a dog. So give me Arizona State, even money. Activate the Valley, Mr. Dillingham. Get it activated.
I love it. Parlay.
Or,
Let's see. What do we want to do here? I was kind of thinking. I don't know. There's not enough dogs I like to where I would do a round robin. And I'm not thinking about round robin, but there's really not a lot of dogs I absolutely love.
I had an idea, and my ideas haven't been working, but I was thinking, what if we just go back to you and I, we each take a spread, but we look for a plus the points spread. So an underdog, take them with the points, rivalry week. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's fine with me. Let's go. Let's see.
Let me do some surfing here. Dude, geez, Texas A&M's down to 1.5. I just saw that clicking through
Oh,
here.
wow.
Let's see.
Um,
I will
what
go.
about Cal? What is theirs?
Oh, they got SMU. They just can't. Cal is a 13.5 point dog. I don't hate that. Can't their coach, Mr.
Give me
Rolo,
Cal. Give me
the
Cal.
old Wazoo coach stepping in. I like that. Let's see. I will go with. Oh God, it's ugly. God, Florida State, Florida. That game is trash. Man, this is tough. This is real tough here. I was gonna go Virginia Tech, but I don't want to double bang you on that one. You know what? Clemson plus 3.5, or no, Kentucky plus 3.5 at Louisville. SEC muscle over Louisville here. Louisville's really reeling down the stretch
Yeah.
here. So Kentucky plus
Yeah,
3.5. It's a Saturday morning spot.
they killed me last week. I absolutely love that parlay. Rivalry week is upon us. Thank you for joining. I hope you liked the show today. We had a bunch of fun recording it with the history, the laughs, the hatred, whatever it may be that rivalry week comes along with. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your turkey. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Anything else to conclude here, Jack?
Go Cougs. Pac-2 bounce back spot this week.
Go Irish. 30-something point favorites this week. Got to win by 70.
Go Cougs. See you guys.
See ya.